Okay. Alright, you guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if this is your first time here. If you're one of my subscribers, you know that the last few videos I have been talking about how I'm going to release a life update diagnosis video. Well, this is that video. So, stay tuned if you want to find out about my new diagnosis.
Not doing well, don't know where you are.
This video may not be that short, but also I don't have much battery left on my phone, so we'll see what happens. I wanted to start at the top of my head and work down to my toes and tell you guys everything I go through. I wanted to tell you guys all the pain I experience, what a day in my life is like as far as by words. But you know what? I don't know what clicked with me recently, if there was something I read, something I heard, but I don't want to do that anymore because... And hold on, before you leave the video, I am going to talk about my new diagnosis because I definitely want to share my health journey to getting this diagnosis. But I just want everyone to know that, like, I do not have to explain anything to anyone. And there's so much, to be honest, not wrong, I shouldn't use that word, but there's so much that I deal with and struggle with, and I have so many different issues that it would just be too much, I think, emotionally on me, and for you guys to like hear and sit through that. Like, it would be too much to put it in one video. So I may split up like my different conditions and diagnosis in different videos. So this video is for my IIH. So whoa, I feel like I need to be so much more organized. But, you know, when I first started my YouTube channel, I didn't want to get a ring light. I didn't want to get a setup. I didn't want to start editing. I just wanted to sit down, press record on my phone, and then upload it to YouTube right away without thinking about it. Because, to be honest, I don't always like looking at myself. And also, I wanted to be that type of YouTuber that, like, people felt like they were my friends. Like, you guys feel like you're sitting here with me in my bedroom right now and we're just talking. And I felt like the whole production of editing and ring lights didn't make it so that we've had that friend level. But I personally always want to upload videos that I would want to watch. And though I do like those friend type of vibe videos, I'm hoping to incorporate my editing with that vibe still. Because I've noticed that I like watching my videos if they are more edited. So I kind of like it that way too. Whew. Okay. I've just been blabbing forever. So let's get into my condition. So we are going to start where it started. Which brings us back to when I was a child. When I was a kid, I had a lot of ear problems, and my mom recently told me I had surgery on both my ears. I didn't think I did, and I thought it was for a different reason, so hopefully I get all this right. But when I was young, I couldn't walk because my fluid in my ears were too unbalanced, so I didn't walk until later in life, not like 4 or 5, but like it took me a lot longer than normal. So they found out that I had a lot of fluid in my ears, so I had tubes put in. And the tubes drain out the fluid. Well, they're supposed to fall out. I don't know, like, understand that still to this day. But the tubes are supposed to fall out automatically. Mine didn't. And they caused holes in my ear. And I always told people I blew a hole through my eardrum, because that's what I always... Okay. So then growing up, even as a young kid, as a young adult, even up until 2 years ago, I would say, I constantly had double ear infections. Like, I would know. I'd be like, oh, I got an ear infection. I'd be like, let's see if it just goes away, which don't take that advice. Don't take any advice I give you in this video, because I'm not a doctor, as you guys know. But I kept just waiting for the ear infection to get better on its own. Well, then I would go and I'd get antibiotics. So long story short, I had chronic ear infections my whole entire life. And you would think, well, what does this have to do with IIH? If you're watching this and you already know what IIH is, you're going to be like, what? How are these connected? That gets me to why I went and saw a neurologist. So I kept having all these ear infections, and I would go to the doctor, again, even as I was an adult, and they would constantly tell me, your ear looks gray, your ear doesn't look normal, you need to go see an ENT, ears, nose, throat specialist, so they can see what's going on with your ear. There may be something else more going on here. And I'd always be like, nah, like, I've had this all my life, like, I know what to do with it, I know how to deal with it, I'm used to this, like, no, I'm not going to ENT. And I think I was more scared of that they would want to do surgery, because I don't ever want surgeries. Like, I have always been a sick person, a sick human. Like, physically, I've always just been so sick. And so I've had so many IVs in my life that, like, I have, like, horrible anxiety just thinking about getting an IV. And I've got to stop having ear infections. It's because I went to a doctor who was like, you have really bad allergies. You need to be on allergy medicine all year round with Flonase, like the spray. So I have been doing that the last couple years, so I don't get ear infections hardly at all anymore. I think I've had maybe one or two. I think so. But, so we found out it was allergies, and my sinuses and everything, mucus wasn't leaking. Not leaking. Oh my God, my terminology. My sinuses weren't running out, like they weren't running the mucus out how it's supposed to, so it was all backing up in my ears. That would cause the ear infections. So one day I was just like, oh, my ears are starting to hurt again. You know, but I don't think it's an ear infection, because I know what those feel like. Why not just go ahead and bite the bullet? And this was a few months ago, in probably March, I think. Yeah, March. And I was like, let me go ahead and bite the bullet and go and see the ENT doctor, ears, nose, throat specialist. So I go to see him, and we do a hearing test, and I can't hear some low tones. And he says I have ear pearls, which I don't know the technical word for it. I wish I would have remembered. But what it is it's like skin or fat that's on my eardrums, both of them. And I have to go every 3 months and have it monitored to make sure that it doesn't grow and it's not skin. So if it's skin, then if it grows, I could potentially go fully deaf one day or lose most of my hearing. Which was a lot to hear. But I didn't feel scared at that point, because he also mentioned that I have tinnitus in my ears, and that's like ringing, and I hear my heartbeat sometimes. And he goes, I think you have a brain condition. This is the ears, nose, throat doctor telling me that. So if we go back and hang with me, because I think it's really important to hear the history. Some people, you know, may come on here and go, hi, this is what I have, and this is the backstory behind it. Or this is just what I have. But the point that I'm trying to make is that, 1, don't wait to go to the doctor. 2, go to the doctor. 3, if, I guess 1 and 2 is the same. But 3, if you don't get an answer from a doctor, advocate for yourself. And yes, I'm being intense, because it's so important. Could you imagine if I would have held off and, 1, not found that I could go deaf one day, and then not have treatment for that if that does happen, and then Also, I wouldn't have found out I have this brain condition that answered several questions on why I've been suffering since I was young. So anyways, so the ear doctor's like, you need to see a neurologist. I'm like, pfft. He's like, you probably have this high pressure in your brain that's causing your ear, like the ringing and stuff in your ear. And I'm like, oh my God, I do not have a brain condition. Like, no. So let's reverse this back to when I was 19. So I had perfect vision. All of my family had bad eyes. Like, they all had glasses young. I never did. I turned 19. I start getting migraines. Now, granted, my IIH, I don't know if I had that when I was younger, but when I was like 16, 17, no, couldn't have been then. Okay, it probably was around 18, 19. Yes, it was around the same time. I had really bad migraines, and I went to the doctor, and I had to like sit with my eyes closed in the waiting room, and when they put me in the room, I had them turn the lights off. I couldn't handle light. And he gave me pain shots in my arm, which I don't remember what pain medicine it was, but it did help a little bit for a few months. Well, anyways, so, my vision started going bad when I was 19, and it had never done that before. I started getting migraines, and when I was 16, that's the point I was trying to make with the age. When I was 16, I started getting pain in my arms, found out I had fibromyalgia. My mom has fibromyalgia. I think a couple of my grandmothers had fibromyalgia or has fibromyalgia. So it's like something in our family that I'm familiar with. So like I knew I did. I didn't get diagnosed with fibromyalgia until 2 years ago, I think. But we linked it back to, again, I knew I had it since I was 15, 16. So I always thought when I got these migraines when I was 19 that they were due to the fibromyalgia. And so anytime I'd get a migraine and I couldn't handle light or sound, I'd get nauseous and dizzy, and I had a really bad balance. I always thought fibromyalgia, and so when the ENT doctor says, well, you're ringing in your ears, migraines probably are from this high pressure in your brain. I'm like, no, like, I don't have a brain condition. Because here's the thing, like, my ultimate goal in life, my family probably hear me say this sentence so many times, but my ultimate goal in life is to have a child, to have one baby, because I know that I'm so sick, but like, I want to have a love child, like, as silly as that sounds, but a love child with my husband. And so I've been suffering for years, and doctors have always wanted to put me on hardcore medicine that could potentially affect my fertility long term. I can't be on while pregnant, while trying to conceive. I mean, it's been a lot, and I've always been able to reject the medicine and say, no medicine for me until I have a baby. Let me have my child, let me breastfeed, let me do everything natural, and then I will take medication. You can tear me to pieces, you can ruin my insides, you can try to make my life better by medicine, but I'm not doing that, and I'm gonna be strong and hold on until I have this child, right? So that was always what I said. And I am on a little bit of pain medicine because there got to a point where I couldn't sleep, couldn't walk. So I am on a little bit, but it's not anything strong that's gonna affect me long term, hopefully. But there was other medications that they wanted to put me on that I always was like, absolutely not. Like, it's not even a question. No, not taking the medicine. So I've been able to do that because it's pain. It's not anything life-threatening. And so when I heard brain condition, I'm like, first of all, no, I don't have anything wrong with my brain. Secondly, that's more serious, because if there's something wrong with my brain, I can't reject the medicines. I can't reject the treatment. So it was a lot scarier. Like, I didn't get scared though until I went to the neurologist 3 months or 2 months probably later. Whew. Taking a breath here because this is a lot. And I hope that all of this is making sense. And my point of this video is that I've always felt like, and I'm not some angel perfect person, I'm not even really a positive person all the time. I have many days that I feel hopeless. I really do. I probably have more days that I feel hopeless than I do happy. And I have a lot more days where I am depressed, and I live in depression a lot of the times. But there's this, I almost said light, I guess we could call it that. But there's this light inside me that keeps me strong. And to me, that's my hope of my child. If I ever was told, no matter what you do, IVF, fertility treatments, anything you do, you're never, Hannah, gonna have a child through adoption, foster, anything, that would be hard, because that's my goal in life. Like, other women out there don't want children, they have other goals, and good for you and good on you, and I hope that your dreams, whatever they may be, will come true. And that's for women and men out there who, you know, feel other ways about having children. But I really want a child. So all this to say, the reason I'm sharing my story is because I want this little bit of strength and hope that I hold on to release it to the world, to help someone else who's struggling. Because, you know, I was talking to my best friend about this. I don't want to be quiet with my feelings. I don't want to be quiet about struggles, because I know how it feels to try to hold that in. There was a point in my life where I felt like I couldn't talk to anyone. No one understood. No one cared to understand. No one cared to listen. And I suffered. And you feel trapped in like a hole. And, you know, I had a therapist, shout out to Bonnie, which she doesn't know I make YouTube videos and I haven't talked to her in a while, but she really encouraged me and changed my mind about vulnerability. And vulnerability is strength. It's strength. Like, we think being strong and keeping quiet is strength, but that's not. That's weakness. Within certain situations, of course. But if you have a story to share, you need to share it, because you know, I always hope, and again, I don't think I'm a saint, I don't think I'm an angel, but what I do know is that I have a story to tell, and I want to save one person's life, if I can. I had a friend when I was a young adult who warning here, that this may be hard for some people to hear, but I had a friend that wanted to commit suicide. And that's really hard, because, you know, you think like, what can I do? And honestly, when they were in this mindset, they compared their life to what they saw online. And online, people looked happy and successful, and everything they were feeling like they're not. And that's what drove them to these thoughts of, why am I living? And that shouldn't be that way. If more of us opened up and showed what we struggle with in the real, raw life, some of us wouldn't feel alone. And that's my point of this video. I want to share and, you know, spread awareness of what people go through. And again, if it'll help someone, I want to help someone. Whew. So let's take a breather after all that intense emotion.
Say what you want.
We're going to talk about what I have. So don't worry, you guys. I am going to post a timestamp for those who want to skip past the backstory of what I have, so that you guys can just know about the condition. So what I have is called, people refer to it as IIH. And what that means, looking at Google on my iPad here, idiopathic intracranial hypertension. Idiopathic. I think I said that wrong. but it's known as IIH, or some other word that I don't know how to say. It's a neurological disorder characterized by elevated intracranial pressure in the absence of a tumor or other disease. So IIH, actually, I'm sorry, before I go further into this, I totally forgot about, whoa, okay, so he refers me to a neurologist, and, I feel like this video is a mess and all over the place. I'm so sorry. Whoa. Ooh. Okay. So the ENT doctor refers me to a specialist, and I was like, there's nothing wrong with my brain. Like, that's not what I have. Put it off. Coronavirus happened around this time as well. I didn't tell much of my family. I only told my best friend and my mom and my husband, of course. And so later on, a couple months after, I got swelling in the back of my head, like right around this area. And so I'm like, that's a little scary, and I need to go to the neurologist anyway, so let's go to the neurologist. So I called, and I'm like, hey, I had a referral, but I also am having swelling in the back of my head. I'd like to get in and see a neurologist. They got me in that week, or it was the next week, and found out I have something in the back of my head. I don't remember what it's called. It's just something to do with the nerves that run through my shoulder, neck, and they get inflamed. And he did nerve block shots. So I had 4 shots in my head, 2 on each side. And it has helped. It made the swelling go down. And then he referred me for a brain MRI, brain scan. And then after that, if the brain MRI came back with results, still pointing to the high pressure in the brain, we then were going to do a spinal tap lumbar puncture to take out some fluid, and also to measure what my fluid level is at in my head. Also, he wanted to test some of the fluid that they removed, so that's also part of a spinal tap lumbar puncture. So I go and get the brain MRI, and we get those results, and it said intracranial hypertension, and there's also some other things that came up on the MRI that they can't really like explain what it is, but it could be MS, but I didn't have as many as someone with MS would have. They're like spots on the brain. And then they did test my spinal fluid for MS and ruled out at this time I do not have MS, so that's good news. I also was referred to an eye specialist, not just like an eye doctor, but an eye specialist, and she tested my peripheral vision in general, checked my eyes, which I'll go into later on what the results of that were. Well, no, we can go over now. So on my left eye, there is some blackness that I see in the peripheral. If I'm using both my eyes, the peripheral vision isn't bad. It's just if I cover my right eye, the left eye gets weak and I start like losing some sight in the peripheral. And then my, excuse me, my pituitary gland isn't being pushed down, which is what the pressure does. So that was good news. No MS, no vision loss, aside from, if I'm only using my left eye, and some of the peripheral vision after a while. So that was good. So then I get the results, and I go and see him for the follow-up, and he confirms I have IIH. Yeah. it was really hard to accept because, like I explained, my whole thing was, you know, that I want a child, and IIH can cause me to go blind one day and lose sight, which is scary. So before we go into the diagnosis and details of it, think about that, you guys. Like, if I wouldn't have went to the ears, nose, throat specialist to check on my ears, to then be referred, who would have found this? You know, so that's why it's so important to go to the doctor. If you're not feeling good, it's for a reason. Whether it's emotional, that you need to see a therapist and a psychiatrist and need medicine to help balance your brain, or physically, like, don't give up on yourself, you know, like, stay with it, because it's so important, and nobody knows how you feel but you, and you have to be your advocate. And if you're not getting answers, find a new doctor, you know, like, that's so important. So anyways, I hope I'm not repeating myself too much, but so he goes, you have intracranial hypertension. Something else that was frustrating to me is last year, or maybe it was 2 years ago, my health really started declining in the last 2 years. They referred me to a rheumatologist who literally takes 18 vials of blood every time I see him, I think it's 6 months or 3 months. I see a pain management specialist every 3 months. I see a primary care physician. I'm in contact with her every month, but I see her every 6 months. I see the ears, nose, throat specialist to monitor my ear pearls every 3 months. I'm trying to think who else I see. I think that's it right now. Rheumatologist, ENT specialist, ENT, pain specialist, neurologist, primary care physician. Is there anyone else? No. Oh, I do have a fertility specialist, but that's for another video. And I have to lose weight before going back to see him, so I'm not seeing him right now for checkups. But I have 5 different specialists and doctors I work with. And then there is another doctor that I go to for knee injections. Again, I don't want to go through all my stuff. I also have a therapist that I need a new therapist. I love Bonnie, but with having chronic pain, I need like a chronic pain therapist. So, anyways, so yeah, there's like 7, you know, different support team people that I have. It's a lot. I literally am in and out of doctors every single month. So it gets to be a lot, but it's what I have to do at this point. So anyways, what I was saying is frustrating is that 2 years ago, I went and got my eyes checked for these glasses that I currently have. And during the test, I saw double vision. It made me nauseous. I started having anxiety. I started seeing that black on the left side. And the eye doctor was like, "You're fine. It's fine. I don't know what it is. Just let me know if it comes back. Give me a call when you see it." Like, what? It was crazy. And so I was telling my neurologist this when I just went and saw him, and he was like shaking his head like, "I just can't believe an eye doctor didn't refer you to like find out what your double vision and everything was." Like, yeah, and I felt the same way. And that's the part of like, I maybe could have caught this 2 years ago, but I didn't. So anyways, let's go ahead and get into the diagnosis. That's the backstory. Really, there's nothing else I have to add with the backstory of that. So what idiopathic, I feel like that's how you say it. I call it intracranial hypertension. So what this is, it's a disorder. I call it a brain condition, but it's a brain disorder. what I feel is right here on the front part of my head. That looks funny, the way I look. But the front part of my head feels like it's literally gonna explode. And there's just, and also like it's being crushed like this. Like it's like a cap of pain. And like I said, I have double vision. My peripheral vision in my left side is bad. Not bad, again, if I'm using both eyes, it's not that bad. I have migraines. I have very bad balance. I get dizzy and nauseous when I have really bad migraines. And ringing in my ears. My ears pop all the time. What else do I have? I have eye pain, like just touching my eyes lightly like this, like hurts. I really hurt above my eyebrows too. It's just a lot of like head pain. And if you hear like what I go through, you're like, that's not that bad. But the part that's bad about intracranial hypertension is the reason I'm having these issues is because I have too much fluid around my brain. So like if you look at like a brain MRI, there's like a layer of fluid and then your brain's held. So just imagine this fluid around your brain. If you have too much, that's pushing on your brain. And what can happen is eventually I can go completely blind. So I told you guys about my ear pearls that have to be monitored every 3 months. I could go deaf from this, blind from this. And I also have literal pain and aches all over my body. We do know I have fibromyalgia, but there's other like there's other joint pain. That's why I see a rheumatologist every 6 months, because he's monitoring my inflammation. It is so high, like it's crazy ridiculous how much inflammation I have, which causes a lot of my pain. My joints are really bad, and I've been overweight all my life, so it may just be regular arthritis, and then the weight may make it flare more. We don't know yet. I did start keto and lost 30 pounds in 3 months in January, but then with the coronavirus and everything going on, we paused that. We're actually going to start doing keto again, hopefully in the next week or two. So yeah, there's a lot that goes on. And you know, I'm 28 years old and I've been dealing with extreme pain where I can't work full weeks since 2 years ago. Yeah, it was probably about 2 years ago my health started declining. And there wasn't anything that like happened that would have caused, you know, the pain to just start. I will say in 2014, which is 6 years ago, I got in a bad car wreck and I was T-boned, and my car spinned, my brakes went out and it was spinning, and I hit my head and my back got really messed up. I still remember that pain. It hurts my body so bad. But I have bulging, the degenerated disc in my back, and I mean, I have a pinched nerve. I guess I am going through my whole body pain. But it's a lot. Like, it's freaking a lot. And so now to know, like, a brain condition, going back to what I keep trying to always say, and I did kind of already go over, is that, like, I could say no to medicine, no medicine, no medicine, no medicine with my pain. Let me have my baby. Let me, you know, because eventually the plan is for my back to have surgery where they, like, cut me open and stick a TENS unit on my spine, so I constantly have a pain stimulator that, like, hopefully helps pain, you know. But I can't do that and be pregnant or try to get pregnant. So I've just wanted to suffer for my child. And with the brain condition, you can't do that. You can't. Like, what, am I going to risk going blind to possibly have a child? You know, I also have fertility issues, and my husband struggles with fertility issues, and I'm not going to go into those details of that. Again, there's so many things I have. It would literally be 5 hours of a video that I'm sure no one would watch if I went through all that. So it's very just overwhelming, and you constantly think, like, why me? Why me? I'm very young, and this is ripping away my life. And sometimes you can't push through. Like, people say, just push through, just take the medicine. Those may not even work, and we can't just push through. Literally, sometimes brushing my hair, I can't. Like, it hurts. Like, I don't know why I'm like, lately I've been like in a laughing mode when I get like overwhelmed, but it's just so much, you guys. It's so much to deal with. And I don't want to be a victim either. I'm at this place now where with my IIH, I am just trying to like accept it, because I don't want to be at a point where I'm just like, ooh me, my life's so hard, everything sucks, blah, 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 blah. And I've not been a person like that. I am a person who, I have days like that, but I don't live in that state, and I don't want people, I don't like pity, but I want to be acknowledged that I'm suffering, and I want people to understand. But people aren't going to understand unless you're in my shoes and my body and my pain and my brain. You're not going to understand. Like, you can have everything. If I were to list from my head to my toe what I have, you could have it, but it may be different for you, because you may live differently than me. You may have like you know what I mean? So we can't ever compare journeys. I'm getting off topic here, but what I'm trying to say is that I want to be someone who's positive. Like, there's people, and I've been doing this new thing where I like find videos and YouTubers who have disabilities, and they still like live how they want to. And I mean, this one lady was changing her child's diaper with her mouth and didn't have arms and legs. Like, and I'm out here fully capable with arms and legs, but we can't compare. It's like a fine line of not comparing your life, but also remembering it could be worse, but also it could be better. Whew. Yeah, mental health with chronic conditions, long-term conditions, is hard. It's a very fine line of, you know, what is okay to say to someone, and also what to say to yourself to help yourself. So, yeah. Yeah. But I want to be someone who, I know I'm not going to be like, I love my conditions, you know. They help me so much, because they don't. But I also don't want to be someone who's like, oh, my life's hard all the time. So I've been trying to work on finding positives in what I have. And, you know, people have told me who know me personally that I'm so strong. And sometimes on my bad days that makes me cry, because I feel like they don't know what I go through and I don't feel strong. And they're like, well, you are strong. But I think that strength comes from the pain. So, long story short, I want to find positives through this pain. And there is a way to look at it that, you know, this has helped me be able to find strength in myself, because things aren't easy. And also it helps me appreciate life and good days way more. Way more. Though I don't have many good days anymore. And if we look at, let's say that I go through this pain for the next 3 years. That's 5 years of total pain where I went through diagnosis, treatment, trying to find what works. What if in 3 years I'm better and we find something that works and I have a child and I'm happy? If you look at my full lifespan, let's say I lived to 60, that's only 5 years of my life that I suffered. So you have to think of things in a positive way, but that's hard sometimes. But we just have to try and never give up. Whew, sorry you guys, this video is a mess and emotional and whew. But I appreciate you guys if you are still watching. I really do. So one last thing here I just want to end on is that IIH is a brain condition that acts as if you have a brain tumor but you don't have a tumor, and it is severe high pressure It can be linked with your spine. So like I told you guys, I had that spine accident in 2014. My neurologist really doesn't see a point in trying to find the reason, which is why I may find a new neurologist, to be honest. But right now I'm just going to stick with what I'm doing because it's working with what we need to do at this moment. And they've, you know, got me in really fast. I did have the LP, the spinal tap, which was severely hard. Let me know and leave me a comment if you'd like me to make a video about my spinal tap lumbar puncture experience. I will. That's a whole video in itself. Yeah, I've been recovering from that for the last couple weeks, and yeah, it took me a couple weeks to be okay, and I don't even know if I'm still okay because I've been dealing with a lot of head pressure. So anyways, yeah, so IIH is a tough diagnosis to swallow and accept and hear. If one day, if my medications don't work to lower my brain pressure and the fluid in my brain, then I may have to have brain surgery and a stent put in my head. I'm hoping, you know, that's not going to happen. Hopefully medication works. But we'll see, you know, so this is where we're at. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and go. If you guys stick through this full video, I appreciate you. And if you want to know how to support someone who has IIH or chronic pains, syndromes, or chronic conditions, the best way is just to be there. How can I help? I'm here for you. I hear you. That's so important. I hear you. I see your struggle. Just acknowledging that we're struggling. It's not even about attention. Could you imagine feeling like you don't want to do this anymore and all of your body hurts, and then feeling alone and like no one understands? It's a bad, bad feeling. So any type of support is appreciated. I mean, I have the best family. I'm thankful that, you know, in a way that my mother has fibromyalgia because she can understand it. So I have a great support system right now in my life, and my husband is my absolute rock. I'll have to do a video and have him in it on how a husband lives with someone with chronic conditions and what his experience is like. But he doesn't like being on camera, so I don't know if we'll get that video, but maybe I could talk about it from my point of view on what he's been through. In the beginning, he wasn't as supportive because he didn't understand, and we've got to a really good place where he understands me mostly, and that's really nice to have someone so supportive. So I'm very thankful and blessed, and, you know, even though I have all these issues, I'm still here, I'm still trying, and I'm not going to give up. And I hope this has encouraged anyone out there who does have any chronic pain conditions, any issues. You know, one other thing I want to add real quick, I just thought about how my father and I were talking about this, but some people feel like if their conditions or problems aren't as bad, they shouldn't talk to someone about issues. But please don't do that, because we notice that, and even though we have our own issues going on, so sometimes my mind, like, let's just say this is a bubble of my mind, like, fighting me and all this pain, and then if someone comes over here and they start talking to me, it pops me out of that bubble, and it helps. That's a form of support too, because we're still here, we're still normal, and we're still here for you guys. So it's so important to just be a friend, not forget about us, and be understanding. So alright, you guys, again, thanks for listening. Please subscribe if you'd like to. I do post videos at least once a month. I do reviews and makeup videos and life updates. So if you'd like to follow my journey, click subscribe. If you like my vibes, click subscribe. Like the video. Leave me a comment if you have any questions. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.